Today could be one of the biggest trading days of the month. The Federal Reserve is about to release the latest interest rate decision, and whether you're trading Bitcoin, gold, or Nasdaq, this event has a potential to create massive volatility. I'm going to break down exactly what the market is expecting, what could happen after the announcement, and most importantly, my trading plan going into FOMC meeting. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is Dylan, and on this channel we break down the markets using technical analysis, macro events, and exact strategies I use inside Track My Trades AI. Today isn't the day where I want to predict the news. It's a day where I want to prepare for every possible outcome, because the traders who consistently make money aren't the ones guessing the news, they're the ones reacting with the plan. So let's dive in. So when I have a look at this right over here, you can see that at 8 p.m. to 8:30 tonight, we have the federal fund rate, the FOMC statement, and FOMC press conference. Okay, so what is FOMC? For anyone new to trading, FOMC is the Federal Open Market Committee. This is a group within the Federal Reserve that decides U.S. interest rates policy. Every decision they make affects borrowing costs, inflation, US dollar, stock markets, commodities, and cryptocurrencies. Even if rates remain unchanged, the language that Kevin Walsh uses during the press conference often moves the markets more than the decision itself. That's why today is so important. What am I looking at watching for FOMC? You can obviously see over here there's a whole bunch of different things, and it says 3.75, and that is the interest rate, right? Obviously, if you get above that or below that, it's going to change the way that Kevin Walsh actually approaches the statement. Okay. So the real focus is Kevin Walsh's outlook on inflation, comments about future rate cuts, economic growth expectations, labor market strength, whether the Fed sounds more hawkish or more dovish. A hawkish tone generally supports US dollar and can pressure risk assets. A dovish tone tends to weaken the dollar and can support assets like stocks, Bitcoin, and gold. That's why traders are paying close attention to every word Kevin says. Expect volatility. One thing I've learned over the years is that the first move after the FOMC always isn't the real move. You often see price spike aggressively in one direction, take liquidity above or below obvious levels, and then completely reverse. This is why exactly I don't like jumping into positions seconds before the announcement. I'd rather let the market decide first. So patience is obviously the highest probability trade. So what is my trading plan? So let's talk about what I'm actually watching. I'm not trying to predict whether today's news will be bullish or bearish. Instead, I'm waiting for confirmation after the volatility settles. Here are the three markets that I'm focused on. So the first one, I want to speak about gold. So as you can see with gold, it is actually breaking a key level over here on the daily time frame. And what I'm looking at is, if we can, let me just refresh this quickly. Have a look over here. So if we look at gold, you can see that we did actually take a short position for gold today. We literally caught that top of that 4-hour wick, and I'm expecting price to continue lower, right? You can see how price is obviously broke the support, and there is a good chance that we might take this liquidity to the downside. We have 3,982 as a key level. Very, very strong zone now I'm looking at for potential long. And we've already lost key zones, guys. We've lost the support. We're losing this level. There is a high chance that gold could take out this level today, right? And that is why we did actually take a sell. I am still holding this trade for this potential short, right? Because obviously, if FOMC comes out, bullish for the dollar, then obviously we might see more downside on gold. So we'll see what happens today. For gold, but overall quite bearish. Breaking support over here is not a good sign. I would be looking for potential long at this zone, going into the FOMC. Okay, we look at something like this. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at for gold. Nothing too crazy. And then we look at the Nasdaq, and this is super interesting because when the Nasdaq broke support, I was looking at a short at the zone, and you can see this is a multi month support. Right, this zone has been holding since May 2026. And we literally broke down a couple days ago, right? And this is the first start of a massive move to the downside, I believe, right? So if we do look at the Nasdaq, we have this area of support over here. This is your clearest long opportunity for the Nasdaq, and this is where I do believe that the stocks like Tesla, all these other stocks, Facebook, Apple, any stock you can think about are going to see a reaction within this zone. Right, so for me right now, I'm not really going to look for any long positions for the Nasdaq, because we can obviously trade Nasdaq I would want to look for a potential long within this area. Okay, this is a key zone for me. This is the zone that I'm looking at for potential bounce. But until we get that bounce, there's nothing really I can do. The problem is right now we are below support. So if you want to take a short now, you should have taken it already. Okay, so I would probably just put an alert and wait for price to come to this level before we end up even taking a position. Okay, so Nasdaq, very, very interesting. I do expect price to come down. Bitcoin as well. You're not looking too great either, but it's holding up a little bit more than the altcoins. We'll actually go over some alts as well, but essentially Bitcoin is trading still below this key 4-hour resistance, right? Price has literally tapped this zone multiple times there, and there's still a good chance that we can come lower, right? I would not take a trade right now for Bitcoin going into FOMC because we are 4 hours away. I'll probably just wait to see what happens and then look for a potential trade. But essentially this is not a good sign. Bitcoin broke structure to the downside. I am looking for two longs within 62,400 and 61,100. Two key zones that we can potentially bounce for Bitcoin. Don't expect it to just dump because of FOMC. We might see a massive wick to the upside, we might see a massive wick to the downside, and then we see the move, right? Which is why I don't like taking trades going into FOMC, because you can't actually predict what's going to happen unless you know exactly what Kevin's going to say. But it's quite a new chair, so no one really knows what he's going to say. Like Jerome Powell, you can kind of know by the tone of his voice, but obviously he's not there anymore. Okay, so Bitcoin still looking a little bit dodgy. I'm not interested in taking any longs. I'd only really look at shorts in this zone, guys, I'll be honest. Then if we have a look at one more thing I want to take a look at is Total 3. Let's have a look and see here. Total 3 is interesting. And this talks about the altcoins, because I was actually speaking about this, and if you guys watched yesterday's video, we spoke about how Total 3 is at such a critical zone, guys. Are we going to break the zone, or are we going to come lower? There's a good chance that we can bounce though, guys. There is a good chance that we can bounce. I'm not saying that we can't, but we'll see what happens. So this is something to watch out for the altcoins. If we break below this level tomorrow on the daily time frame, then we're going to see a massive dump in altcoin market, and the buy zone is $608 billion. Alright, so we'll see what happens today. I will keep you guys updated tomorrow's video to see what actually happened. But yeah, FOMC's days create some of the biggest moves of the month, but they also create some of the biggest traps as well, so just be careful going into it. Today I'm watching gold, Nasdaq and Bitcoin closely, but I'm not letting the markets, I'm not going to trade right now in terms of just predicting what I can't predict. I'd rather use my strategy and wait for the setup to come to me. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's one.